All right, Kim, thank you so much for joining us on the Scene podcast. For those listening at home, who are you and what do you do?
My name's Kim Elizabeth James. Yeah, so I am the founder of a data-led creative and content agency here in Melbourne called Wedge. Been in big corporate marketing for the last 10 years. And yeah, we really help people find their wedge through data. We sharpen it through really good creative, and then we drive it out on digital and social channels.
What made you want to start an agency and build all this?
Yeah, great question. Well, I was corporate, so I started in social media literally 10 years ago. I was a marketer, just another graduate at Reese Plumbing, and we didn't have a social media presence. We had a Facebook page, it was a lot of memes, and there was no Instagram. And yeah, I pitched to the senior leadership. I was like, what are we doing? We're like one of Australia's biggest brands. Why are we not on social? So they said, figure it out, go away. And I, Googled how to write a social media strategy. Obviously, I had a degree, but we just watched a video on how the internet was made. So that didn't really give me much. And yeah, I presented it, and the CMO was there and thought, oh my God, I'm amazing. Friday afternoon, probably went to the pub. And they had a conversation afterwards and said, yeah, she's right. Like, we should take this full time. So that's kind of how I got into it. And we built it up from there. But I'd always wanted to work for myself. And I'm definitely someone that loves to see better ways of doing things. So I think for myself, I was like, okay, well, how can I develop this that I can bring my learnings of many different industries? And yeah, last year we were actually building technology with everything of AI. We were all like, yep, let's jump on the AI tech bandwagon. But got towards the end of the year, and I think it's something we're starting to see a lot with software. And last 10 years has been software as a service, and more people started saying, I actually don't want another tool. Like, what about you? They're like, I call you, or you tell me and you answer. And I was like, well, it's the service. And so we were in this battle of building this technology and raising funding, and everyone's like, I'm saying to these like VC mentors, but what about the service? And they're like, well, that's not like where the money comes. And I'm like, I'm not 100% certain on it. So I also just really didn't think we were Claude proof. So yeah, we pulled it back. And then this year went, all right, why don't we go agency? And I bought out my business partner. And then, yeah, we do that. And we've brought all of the tech back in house, which just honestly allows us to work better and do even more creative ideas. But yeah, that's a bit of a long tangent of how we kind of got here.
No, I love that. And I'm sure you would have seen the changes over time. Like buy-in, I feel like would have been way harder back then, where nowadays you're starting to see, older people in leadership positions now just being like, no, we need to throw money at this to make it a thing, because that's often the first port of call when it comes to people seeing your brand or your business or whatever. How have you seen the changes over time from initially at Reese to now, where it's like, I feel like everyone knows the importance of what it is now, and now, you can get more creative because there's budget there maybe?
Yeah, I think we're in the phase two we're in the phase now where I say to people, being on social and making a social media account, that's the really easy part. But being really good at it, it's hard. Like it's not for everyone. And yeah, 10 years ago, no one wanted things of social. I remember saying there will be social media teams. I was pitching, I was like, yeah, there's me, but we're going to need a team. I'm going to need content creators. We had plumbing influencers. I was like, let's do a YouTube channel. And everyone's like, what is she saying? Everyone was like, no, there'll never be social media teams. It's not going to be that big. And I think everyone was kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop with social, of like, this will go away. So it was a lot harder back then, and people didn't see the value of it because unless you were in e-commerce, that obviously saw it really quickly. But other ones where it was like a B2B or a longer play, or an expertise led, there wasn't that value. So now we're in the second phase where no business can really kind of operate without having a social media or a website presence. Customers are the most educated ever. Regardless of what industry you're in, they're still going to check you out and go, do you have good Google reviews? Like, does this sound dodgy? Are they lying to me? So yeah, I think we're now in that second phase, which is more exciting because the value is there. I would definitely say in Australia, depending on the business depends on the budget, not always the biggest. I would say in Australia as well, we're still quite low in terms of the resources. Like, it's quite common to have one social media manager, and then them, they might get some budget, but they're fighting for more. So that's where it's like the opportunities where things like AI or working with external partners, I think, is also a lot easier. Like, used to be a lot harder to get consultants in or external creators, and I think that's a lot more open up now too. But yeah, it's a journey in it. And then the main one we also get is when, yeah, especially marketers in bigger businesses, there'll be someone on the board or someone senior leadership that will come to them and go, oh, my 14-year-old child said, why are we not on TikTok? Can you get us on TikTok? And then next minute they're like, sure, that's just very easy, isn't it?
It's almost like, yeah, it's harder to convince like bosses and managers that it was their idea. You know what I mean? Even though you've been saying the same thing for a while, but like, is it harder to stand out now because everyone sort of caught on? I like when I started up, me and a mate started up a flip flop business, and our whole thing was influencers and I think this is 2017 ish, and like gifting and that, and we really saw like that was our way of like getting out there, and I felt like there was good opportunity there. But nowadays, I feel like there's so many different tactics and tools that you can use. Is it harder to stand out now in this space?
Yeah, definitely. Like the marketing funnel of it is gone. You used to be able to do one Facebook post and then people would buy. Whereas now you're like, okay, what's the Instagram launch? What's the reels, the carousels, the collabs, the stories, the emails, the Facebook posts, the meta ads, the TikTok posts, the LinkedIn posts, the YouTube shorts. There's a whole thing that you're going like all of these things because it's more and more touch points before anyone, is making a purchase. It's a minimum of 7 every single time. So I definitely think there's more placements than ever for brands to be across as well to kind of have that. However, in all of the world of AI, if you can be creative, it is easier to stand out. And the other side of it as well is like we've never had so many more opportunities for businesses of different sizes to take off. Like, I remember when we had huge budgets at Reese to be able to like, work with people like Billy Slater and things like that as well. We used to work with The Block. Like, there were budgets that a small business wouldn't have the opportunities to do. But having said that, now on TikTok, you can have no budget, a phone in your hand, really good storytelling, and you will get more than what a brand traditionally used to pay a quite big sum to boost and get 100,000 views. So it's not necessarily who has the biggest budgets anymore. It's who can actually be creative and understand their audiences and tap into storytelling really well. So if anything, like the requirement of really good storytelling is just the most important part of social right now.
I love that. And I'm seeing like even brands pop up like Kinzo, for example, where you're just seeing them everywhere and they've kind of empowered the young people to just take charge and like own that. And I don't know, I feel like I don't even know what Kinzo does, but I see them everywhere and it's just like you can't escape it. And I feel like they're doing a really good job of like showing up and being there, I suppose, wherever you are. It's like, yeah, you're right. Like you need to see something like 7, 8 times before you like can commit, especially these days with like the trust and things like that. But are there other like brands like Kinzo that you're seeing that are doing a really good job like that? And another part to that question is how much does the product or the business or service that you're doing have to match up with what you're actually saying as well? Because I feel like a lot of the time it's either one or the other. The product's good, but they don't know how to tell the story, or the story's unreal, but then the product's shit.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I think the key thing of the brands that are doing it well, it's also that we're all fighting for the same For You page. You're fighting for the exact same For You with creators who are natural storytellers that can absolutely capitalize on an audience. They can capture it. So the ones that are doing it well are the ones that create it as a bit of a world. And that's hard for brands because brands are like, what is the ROI? What is the purpose from this? What is our brand, right? We've always been quite methodical with that. And now it's more like, what is this world? What is your brand world? How do you invite those people in? What do they care about? Yes, your product, but what are the other things in their life? Like, how can that be seen in that kind of way? So that's something that we do with brands. And honestly, the hardest part of it is to really have strong audience personas that traditionally were really built for media targeting. If we want, men 35 to 50, live in Sydney, probably work a corporate job and are married or something with kids. But that doesn't tell you what does his day look like? What is his pain points? Like, what are the symptoms he faces every day? What are the mistakes that he makes? What's his desires? So the ones that are doing that are really cracking it well. And that can be an array of different ways that people can do it. But that's where you get those like, oh my God, that's so me. That's so us. And whether or not like we have worked with On the House that did a really great job of that as well. And they were so good at doing the storytelling and bringing people along the journey. But also into government organizations as well. We worked with one last year that did incredible storytelling and really good funny content. So the opportunity is kind of there for different businesses, but it's whether or not you have a really good understanding of your audience and a really good understanding of culture to match that two together.
I love that. Remy's doing an unreal job too, by the way. And yeah, like for us at Sked, like building a world around our brand and our community was part of my job coming in. It's like, all right, how can we understand and get some feedback around the people, who purchase our stuff and use our stuff? So it's like, all right, a podcast, it's a good anchor. You can ask questions, a lot of information. Also dipping our toes into like vertical series and stuff, like you're seeing all that stuff pop off in like the short form dramas over in China and things like that. And it's like, well, it feels like it's going to be a thing. So, let's have a crack at that and see what that's about. But are you seeing too, like the best brands that work with creators are the ones that empower the creators? Like you do your preparation beforehand, hey, and not try and take so much control because they know their audience better than us, hey.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I'm very much like, I will never preach anything without practicing. So I became a TikTok creator because, obviously I'd posted and managed brand channels and we'd grown communities and everything. But when TikTok came out, I was in a consultancy role as a content strategist for Australia. So I wasn't managing brand accounts. And I was like, well, I can't tell people how to post a TikTok if I'm not posting a TikTok. So then I started becoming a creator myself. And that was actually one of the main ones. So I worked with a very large brand. And yeah, the first time that we worked together, like, this is the thing. They basically would say, we want you to be like this person in the US here. And I had to do it. But then over time, I'd be like, hey guys, so like, what about if we use this with the Australian audience? I think Australians would be interested in this. We got to a point where we had a really great working relationship. And there was two parts of it. Was one, that working relationship, because we worked together for over a year. So there was that opportunity to build that data. And two, they would come to me and go, what do you see that's actually working? Or what do you think? So yeah, absolutely. I think gone are the days of doing one-off post that you get someone to go, here's this product that they've never spoken about, they've probably never used, they've just holding next to them and then they chuck out, to more building that collaboration, because that's how you bring a creator into your brand world, but also vice versa. It's a really great opportunity, especially if brands are new. Something that we're like putting together for a new brand that's launching as well is like, how can we work with creators that are very authentic to then also capitalize and capture into their world as well, that doesn't feel forced. So yeah, if working with creators, it has to be that ability to bring, they're a content creator for a reason. They grew a following for a reason. They can tell stories. Like, that collaboration piece is absolutely huge. And the funny thing is, it's like, doesn't necessarily need to be the biggest audience anymore. It doesn't need to be Bondi Sands gifting one post to Kylie Jenner anymore, like, I'm sure that will still have a piece of value if you did that again in 2026 as well. There was that one when she made her coffee the other week in a Ninja coffee machine and it looked horrible. And I was like, that's got to be sponsored. What do you mean that's not sponsored? It looks so like, fishy. But yeah, you can get great opportunities with micro creators that grow with your brand.
I love that. I love micro creators as well, because it's like, I feel like the trust is there, and in a world where, it's that easy to go do stuff, I feel like, creators and people who are, showing up online who know their audience, I don't know, you just respect it and it's easy to work with. And I think like doing stuff yourself as well, because it's like, you understand sometimes the fear or things that are involved in actually putting it out yourself, because it's one thing it's like strategy versus reality. Hey, it's like it's all good to have all this big strategy and all these things, but if you're disconnected from how it actually works, it makes it harder to connect the dots.
Yeah. Oh, and it's kind of where we're seeing the evolution of agencies in general. Like, agencies, you had your creative team, your strategy team, and your delivery team, right? And they sat separately. But the creative team, if they don't know what that creative is working and how it comes to life in social, you're not going to get good creative. The strategy team, if they don't understand how that strategy turns into social, you're not going to get a good strategy. And then the delivery team, if they don't have good creative and good strategy, they're going to post looking at what's on the feed and you're just going to look like everyone else. So I think it's also the evolution, and that's why we keep all of that really clear together as well, because I've been in those situations as well where you're like, hang on, this is very disjointed and nothing is kind of connecting to each other to make sure that we can get the results that we want. And yeah, that's kind of putting a fair bit of pressure on the agency world right now.
I had a question here, like gut versus data. You mentioned, your whole thing is the data, but is there an element of gut instincts when it comes to looking at numbers as well for you guys?
Yeah, I think the data part for us is because I took a random side quest into open source intelligence and I love the data of it. It was honestly one of the best things I did. I needed a break from marketing. And so we were working with open source intelligence with the government, but also citizen engagement. And the level of data that we did with that and then the storytelling of what to do with it really took it to the next level. So one, we use everything data led. Even when last night I had a huge big strategy session with a client and I brought in a whole data analysis before we even started. So a lot of it is done with that. You also have, we've never had so much opportunities for data. We know what people are making TikToks of. We can see what reels are performing. Like, traditionally that data was really hidden in Facebook community groups, whereas now you can use that. You can check what's happening on Reddit and so many more different placements. So we 100% data led. The gut feel honestly is just like, I feel like with marketers, we've kind of internalized what we know good creative and content looks like, right? And that's the opportunity that how we work with clients and we build into with AI is actually skills into Claude, so that there's a lot of things in that I can tell people. I'm like, oh no, your video has to be this certain length, these type of hooks. On every carousel slide, you should only use these many words. Like if someone asks me, like, oh, that's just gut feel of it. I'm like, no, there's actually like a massive formula. So it's something that we probably do a bit different is we're very quite data led and even down to the granular of like how many words is on a carousel slide. But that kind of takes out that everyone has the gut feel.
Yeah, exactly. And like you look at people like Mr. Beast and that, and he's that confident that he could grow a YouTube channel without his face, and it's completely something different because he knows all those specific things, and like I think the more you do it as well, the more you get the feedback to see what works and what doesn't. Where are you seeing the opportunities now? Like what are the platforms? Like I'm seeing Reddit pop up a lot because people are there to like consume. Hey, it's not like a really fast moving, fast paced type of platform. Are there other things that you're looking at and opportunities that you're seeing on different platforms?
Yeah, and the biggest thing is we tailor it to each different of our audiences, our brand's audience, So for some brands, Reddit is great. For others, you're like, your audience is not there. The number one that we are doing is the biggest audience is content and social media is all content consumption. Like 1 in 50 posts is of your friends and family. So, people aren't actually sharing as much personally outside of Instagram stories. So social itself is a consumption, exactly how we like to binge watch Netflix. So the number one thing we're doing now is building content into a content series. How can we build something that you're known for? And I always ask, and I want to know do you know the guy that climbs the ladder and asks what your career is?
No, I haven't. No.
No, but there's this guy
probably a
and he
bad
climbs the
example.
ladder. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he said he has to guess what your job is, right? Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's the career ladder. Anyway, I always ask people that, and I said, "Do you know what his name is?" And they don't know, and it's because you become known for something, right? It turns up, it's repeatable, it's recognizable, and you're like, that I know that person, but we don't remember by name. So the biggest thing that we're doing is actually building that with clients. So we had one recently, and she's a mortgage broker. She works a lot with women, and I said to her, "Oh, like that actually more single women are buying housing than men." So we validated that with data. We pulled all of the data in terms of how more, it'd be, I think it was 45% of women will be single by 2030. And so we're like, okay, cool. This is a trend that we can actually like build something sustainable with. And there's data that shows it. So we built a thing called Hot Girls Buying Houses. And instead of just throwing random things, we said, this is the homework series for hot girls that want to buy a house. Follow along every week, and we're going to tell you what you want to do every week so you can get that house. And it was so recognizable. It started the series at identifying that. It was speaking to women, and then it had this like, and we'll get you that house, which was like the ending thing that I wrote in. And it blew up. It went from 42 followers to just under 1,600 in, I think, 5-6 weeks. Book calls, and women literally saying on the calls like, oh, I didn't know that I could buy my own. Like, thank you so much for doing this, because they saw themselves in it. So that's the biggest thing is like we are challenging ourselves. Every single client has to have a content series that we can build out. And then on the flip side, the other one is how you can align your content or what you're saying to what's happening in culture and news. That's a really key one as well, because like I think it's like either the second or third most reason that people use social media is for consuming of news. More people are going to creators and that social media rather than traditional media as well. So whenever we have something of what they are an expert in, we then go, well, what's happening in culture that we can align that to? So we've got one client and they are a communications business with women. So a really key part about that was the evolution, the conversation on girl boss and what's happening there. So we pull what's happening in that, and then we align what she speaks about and how she can bring her topic into trending culture. And what you'll see as well is your topic might have a certain amount of, views or reach, but then you're going into what's in the stratosphere and it can just pull you out. And then by doing that, you actually can then get picked up by traditional media because you've done the research, you've got an opinion. They go, oh, can I write about you?
It's making their job easier. Hey, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I've got this specific story that I need, and I know person X speaks about that all the time. So
Yeah.
it's like you get that trust. And do you think like having the data as like evidence helps people with the fear of being specific? Because I feel like a lot of people just want to be everything to everyone, but when you really nail it down to a specific ICP or whatever, having that data helps take that leap.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And like we see that with clients as well. And we have one client and they're like a car loan business. And I said to them, TikTok is going to be your place. And I'm telling you now, you're going to do car loans the most. Like they obviously had multiple services and they were like, no, we don't want to niche down. I was like, I know, but trust me, I just knew that's where it was going to go. Anyway, they are in the top 0.5% for search of car loans on TikTok. 80% of the business comes from social media. TikTok was the main growth platform, but Instagram is now coming up and out. And there's pretty much two people that talk about car loans in Australia, and they're one of them. So you kind of have to like take people along with that journey and let them see that as well. But I do say to people, it's not necessarily niching down. It's what you're known for. Like you want to kind of look at it like, you know, the roots in the ground of a tree. Like those roots will stay the same and you can grow and you can then have other things that you branch out into. But if someone was like, someone's not going to remember your name. They're going to go, do you follow that creator and they talk about this? Do you follow that creator and they do this type of content? Because people don't remember names. They go, oh yeah, that girl that she does that thing. Like I kind of became, you know, known for that with career content and, you know, talking about burnout content. I do these really funny, like meme style, like carousels. And that's what I became known for. No one would remember my name, but people would remember the type of content. So once people can kind of see that evolution we're going for, they get a bit better with it.
And opportunities, hey, and I think people know how to speak to you if they consume your stuff. It's like you don't have that awkward stiffness of like the first couple of meetings. It's almost like, I know what you're about. This can be much easier to like land clients and have fun with it as well. And yeah, I think it's consistency too, isn't it? It's like you see a lot of people start podcasts, a lot of people start things and they don't necessarily finish them or grow. It's just like, oh, it didn't work in the first 2 weeks. Like I'm just going to stop. It's not working. It's like, well, no, you know what I mean? It's like showing up every day as well and like putting time and effort into it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's the thing. I think people don't realize that it takes a lot of time and takes a lot of effort, you know, like we don't pay to be on these social platforms. Like, yes, you can pay to do ads, but the payoff of not having to pay for posting is it's a lot of time. Like even with our Wedge content, we're relaunching a whole new content strategy. I spent 4 hours yesterday doing content and writing and prepping for that. But that's the amount that it takes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like, you know, just using podcast as an example, they're just like, all right, it's content, it's just content. Now, I more see it as like relationship infrastructure. It's like, it's a reason to talk to someone. It's a reason to grow and expand. It's not just this like one thing that a lot of people kind of see it for. It's like, there's many other things that fall off the back of just doing content as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a whole journey part, but I really enjoy kind of like bringing people along the journey as we kind of like grow people's content skills along as well. Like I think, and also for marketers, there's quite a big divide as well and a difference between marketers and content creators and how you can kind of bridge that. But it's something that I'm very glad that I became a content creator because it definitely made me a better marketer, I would say as well.
You mentioned burnout. Did you experience firsthand where it was like, oh shit, I got to set some boundaries in place? Because I feel like with momentum, a lot of the time you don't want the train to fall off the tracks and, you know, you're taking these wins, you're just saying yes to everything, but like, it's hard to like sustain that. You know, if you're going to do this for the rest of your life, it's like, it can't be at this pace. Like, have you experienced anything like that, which made you lead to do more stuff around this?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And because I burned out in 2021 and it took me 2 years to recover. And I remember when the doctor said, oh, burnout takes 2 to 5 years. And I was like, absolutely not. It won't take that long. It did. And had terrible work boundaries, had, you know, a work ethic that it was 100% me aligned into what I was giving to work. Also being in the pandemic, it was a time where, you know, 100% was going to work. You didn't have the gym, you didn't have friends, you didn't have anything outside of work. And I think a key thing with burnout as well, it's not doing more, it's actually what more you give to yourself, because the more you give to yourself, the more you have to give to work as well. So yeah, it was a blessing in disguise. Like I had chronic insomnia. It was something that I just didn't know if I'd ever come back to a better version of me. But within that, it's like now I run a business and I work double the time of what I used to, but I don't hit burnout. And it's funny because I think people think that I would. It's like I'm in the gym every day. Our health club has breath work. I'm doing yoga. Like, I'm seeing friends. Like, I have a brick. My phone is bricked. People know Sunday. If you don't text me, you're not going to get me, kind of one as well. So it definitely is an element of like the right workplace to support that as well, but also for us, our own selves, of who are you outside of work, and your identity that's not only attached to your job title and those other things. And that's where I think, as much of social media, you have to have those things if you work in the industry that's not on your phone, because doom scrolling is not nice and relaxing when it's your job. You know, you have to have things where it's reading a book or going to the gym or, I don't know, play The Sims or something like that's just something else, because yeah, otherwise your brain will never get out of work mode. You'll look at videos, be like, oh, I should send this to this client. Oh, I could save that. Oh, I could do this thing, and you'll just forever be in that spiral.
I love that. Yeah, because I feel like, yeah, you can attach a lot of your identity to your work, and I think like, yeah, that's why I love going to the movies, because it's like
Mm,
I can't be on the phone. I just have to
no.
be present, and it's just growing up. I never really felt like I needed to do that, but I feel like it takes like self discipline to be sustainable and to live like a healthy life. Hey, because like no one's like it's not like school where people are telling you what to do. It's like you got to be the person to be the one to be like, no, I'm doing this like intentionally.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And build, I say to people now, I have the tools in the tool belt, you know, like I can know if I'm exhausted or if I'm doing the right thing. And I work, you know, Saturdays, I work 6 days a week. But if it gets to a Saturday and I'm like, not today, I will go, not today, you know, like we finish on time and I get to that gym class and have it as well. So I think that's a personal thing for us as well, but something that millennials kind of go through, where so much of our identity was our job title and was who we were at work. And I think the reason we're also in a bit of a great millennial career crisis is we're finding what that is and who we are outside of work. And, you know, that's a big thing of why I always wanted to work for myself. And I'd say I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I just don't know what it is one day. But as hard as it is, and I will always have respect for working a job, I'll always have respect for corporate. Like, I loved working at Reese Plumbing. You couldn't change it. I had the best years. But there was always that niggling feeling in like the back of my head being like, oh, like I couldn't regret, I would have more regret and didn't know if I could do it or something as well. And I'm glad that I built those tools early, because I do know founders that don't have that balance, and you will work 7 days a week.
Yeah, and I feel like being a founder is like probably the hardest job in the world, to be honest, because you're responsible for everything. You know, the buck always falls on you, but I feel like that sense of freedom, like if you're a self-accountable person and self-aware, I think like you can be a great founder, but it still is hard. You know what I mean? Like you don't have people telling you what to do. You've got to be the person driving everything, and I think you're constantly learning too. Hey, when you're in those positions, and there's probably never been a better time to like have a crack. Hey, because I feel like with the way the world is, there's not much security in anything at the moment. So it's like you might as well back yourself if you feel like you've got scratch that itch, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. And like, because I was redundant in 2022, sorry. And going through that, I was like, oh, hang on, there's so many opportunities. And then you get rehired. And then when you do work for yourself, there's so many different ways to make money, and you see that. And I think that for so many of us, the one career and the one path and the one job, that's not what we're going to have. And if anything, I now want to be someone in my 80s that are like, what have you done? I'm like, what haven't I done? I want to be one of those people like, what does she do? And they're like, who knows? She does seven different things at once. And what a kind of like fulfilling life that will be. And you're absolutely right in saying that like you're learning all the time. And that's the scariest part. But it'd be scarier to not be learning as well. I think the hardest part is the adjustment shock. Like I do say to people that even now, 2 years into working for myself, the hardest part was genuinely leaving corporate and the comfort of that identity, the comfort of a salary, the comfort of having somewhere to go every day, the comfort of people telling you what you needed to do, and be able to have leave to go on a holiday. Like that identity crisis of being an employee to then like, who am I and what do I show of success? When you climb a career ladder, there is success. I'm here and I'm going to get to here and this is what I do. Whereas now, I think probably for the last 2 years, the people will be like, I don't know what she does. She's online and now she's doing tech and now she's not. And yeah, so but it's the most fulfilling thing, because what you realize is you don't build a business, like the business builds you into a version of yourself that you're like, damn, I didn't know I could be this version of me.
What about like scaling and finding the right people? Like, like I feel like the best sort of agencies and companies know that a lot of the time it's not going to be a forever thing. So it's like, how can we grow and develop and it feel almost like you're proud of people moving on and starting their own thing or, doing something amazing. It's like you want to be that kind of that, like, I don't know, like home ground for these types of people. Like, is that stuff you have to think about when you're like looking to build out a team?
Yeah, for sure. And like, I was very fortunate that I had a lot of leadership training when I was in corporate as well. We did a lot of leadership training throughout my career at all places that I worked at as well. And I became a leader at 26 and stuff. So I've definitely kind of done that of growing teams. And it's something that I'm excited to do again. I think I kind of thought, do I want a portfolio career or do I go in and go full agency? And I love working with people. I love watching people, them grow and evolve, but treat them well enough to, train them well enough to leave, treat them well enough to stay. They want to stay and be there, but also allow that people will grow their careers and look at next opportunities for it as well. But, that's what a team looks like. That's where we talk about in a team environment. I think it's also goes on to the person of really understanding the person that you are training and what's best in it for them. Like, do they want to be a manager? Do they want to level up? Are they happy in where they're at? Like, it's understanding those people and what their career aspirations are and asking a whole lot of questions, honestly, to then go, what do you want? Because I think sometimes it can be easy to force sometimes people into a role that they don't want or they're not ready for as well. And I've had conversations with other founder friends about that, honestly, recently about, whether or not there are people that want to step up into that. I'm like, it's okay if they don't want to as well. So it's definitely a challenge, but I think definitely having just like really great A grade players that come along with you as well. But you have to make sure that they feel like they're on the journey as well. Like the role of a leader is to be that visionary, but everyone is, even though we're all rowing the ship, you might be like directing it, but they go to bed every day being like, yeah, but I was part of that and we won that client and I did that great work and stuff. So that's honestly something we had really strong at Reese Plumbing. I will always appreciate that, is that I would get headhunted from others wanting me to go and work for them. I was like, no, I'm so happy.
I think like care is a big one, isn't it? When people feel like they're cared for, or you feel like you can give honest feedback, like it's not coming from a dark place. It's like, no, I just want you to improve. Like I want what's best for you. And I think when people can feel that, it's not just words, it's like actions that back it up, where it's like, okay, you feel part of, like you said, you feel part of a team and you're proud to work there. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I love it. And I think like there's so like people, it's easy to shit talk where you work and stuff, but like I love talking to people where they're like, no, I love my job. I love the people, it's like, wow, that's a good company. I feel like that's brand. Hey, when employees are spreading the word like that naturally, it just feels like a good place.
Yeah, and employees can. Like, I loved my job. I don't believe that you have to work for yourself to love your job. I genuinely believe that you can be a very happy employee. I don't think everyone should be or needs to be a founder at all. It's not for everyone. Like, I've questioned a lot probably in the last few years, being like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But probably in the last probably month or so, I'm like, oh yes, I can see why I'm doing it. I can see where I want to take it. And conversations where I'm with my accountant that's like, yeah, I can see that too. And you're like, yes, but no, I very much plan to have it an environment that people want to come to work every day. And, it's funny as well. I have very high standards for myself. And someone actually said to me recently, she said, I really like that to work with you because you have high standards, but I'm going to develop high standards being a part of your high standards. I was like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, like it rubs off on, like, what do they say? Like you are the people who you hang out with, kind of thing, like the 5 people, whatever that is. But what about like scaling? Like, is there any like frameworks or like operation wise, like that helped you set up? Because I feel like, early doors, it's a lot of just like test and learn, but has there been any like frameworks that you've used to help you accelerate?
Yeah, the biggest one is then like packaging up your services as well. And I think that's a key thing for agencies. Forever it was everything was custom and we scoped this and everything was like that. It's not sustainable. Like if you want to take out the bottlenecks and you want to take out the amount of manual time, it's 100% going, what is the packages and what are we known for? And also take out the things that you're not. Like we don't do some different services. We have partners that come in and do that. You want email? I've got a partner. You want SEO? I've got a partner. Like you want a website? I've got a partner. We are really good at what we do and we own into that as well. And then also making sure that we have systems that all connect and talk to each other. So many people spend so much manual time, and there's so many platforms, and it's like, that's not an AI thing, that's an automations. They all exist. We can have all of those. So yeah, you can only build as strong as like the foundations and the bedrock that you have. And I'm redoing that since, I'm leading this new version of Wedge as an agency, solo founder. And honestly, that's been my thing for the last 8 weeks. I've hired, one person setting up the operations. I've got new, management accountants that are doing the finances and taking it to the next level with me. I've got new pieces that we're looking at the services packages. I've had an AI partner. What AI do we need to bring into it? What's working there? Like all of that bedrock, that it feels like a lot, but otherwise you'll grow too big and then you can't make as much change when there's like 30 people and then an X amount of clients and stuff as well. So that's definitely been the key ones, because then you can look at either better ways to work, better ways to make your clients happy, and then new service lines and stuff as well, and then scale and hire up the people accordingly. Yeah.
I think you get a lot of more trust as well when you say the things that you don't do, because it's like you're confident in what you can do. And it's like, I don't know, when I come across people like that, I'm like, fuck, they must be really good at their niche thing, or their big strength must be an absolute weapon. How do you see the current state of socials at the moment with AI and all this stuff? Obviously the last few years have been crazy, but where do you see socials in the next 5-10 years? Do you see it being even more entrenched in the TikToks and those types of things? Or do you see it maybe stripping back a bit more because we're seeing we're living on our phones, and you know what I mean? There could be some other out of office stuff, out of home advertising and things like that.
Yeah, there'll definitely be a few different ones, especially that from the out of home. I think there was a lot of scarcity at the beginning of the year of everyone's going to switch offline. It's like, no, they're not. They're still going to be online, but it's kind of like social will be more entrenched into businesses, and you go social first. Even more and more campaigns and are looking at social first. Otherwise, traditionally campaign would go, okay, what's the messaging? What's the creative? What's the out of home and the print? Because we've got to get that up first. And then social would be an afterthought. But if they retrofit that and go, what is social? Because then you'll go, okay, we're going to launch this in-person event. How do we use social to get people there? How do we amplify the brand, connect online and offline as well? I also think social is also gaining a lot more of the value of ROI and stuff as well, especially now that organic social is really social search indexed as well. And it's an interest-based algorithm. It can do a lot more than what traditionally was only from an ads perspective. I think we'll continue to see founder-led content, but also I think it will shift and evolve over time. Everything is a pendulum swing. I think last year founder-led, it has an absolute point and it can absolutely spearhead businesses, but it will get to that point where, we go, well, is it damaging the brand long term, or does it need to be, or can we pull the founder out? So I think we'll have more of those conversations. And then I think earlier what we were talking about really also lines up to brands being more as media companies as well, and having more of a media view, and then your brand is in that as well, and building that into a world piece. So for example, one brand that we're building it out, they have editorial, and editorial is built into what they do and how it's part of it, because editorial carousels on Instagram, they do really well and people reading that. So I think the hardest thing is, no matter what happens with the algorithm, no matter what channel comes up, strategy will always be the bedrock. It will always be. And I say to people, control what you can control. It can feel so out of control that you'll think what's happening and the algorithms change this and stuff. Don't even you will send yourself in a tizzy if you focus on that. We focus on what can we control. Extremely good brand messaging, extremely good audience personas, extremely good content pillars, and then the platforms that adjust and suit, and then really good social series, and then what's evolving from that as well. But if a new platform came tomorrow or something changed, we knew that we'd be able to figure it out because we always have the strategy. We actually don't take new clients if they don't want to do a strategy. If someone is we don't need a strategy, we'll just get into it, we don't work with them. And so we're actually known for that. So people come to us where they're like, all right, I need a strategy. I'm ready. I'm doing it. It's not getting anywhere. So we've kind of set that standard. And honestly, I don't think that's one that I'm going to leave anytime soon, because that is what allows us to do good work.
Well, I bloody love that. We always end each episode with a Fast Five segment. So literally first thoughts to these 5 questions. They're real hard hitting, so I'm not too sure how you go. But number 1, what's your coffee order?
Oh, iced long black with a dash of almond milk.
Oh, there you go. Nice and healthy there. What about death row meal?
Oh, death row meal. Um, Probably like a pub meal, if I'm really honest. I can't eat gluten, so I'd probably be able to eat gluten for the day, and I would have like a pub, just kind of like, yeah, a chicken palmy or like a pie or something like that from a pub. Yeah, with probably a very big beer if I could drink beers and have gluten as well.
Oh, I love that. What about your favorite TV show or movie?
Oh, best movie of all time is Dirty Dancing,
I
without a
haven't seen
doubt.
it. Haven't seen it.
Oh, well, now you got plans this weekend.
Yeah, well, there you go. Favorite song at the moment?
Oh, I'm a massive Swiftie, to be honest, but I think I've been really kind of going hard with Cruel Summer when I've just been walking to work, like pretending myself it's not winter and like
Yeah.
saying Cruel Summer. Yeah.
Main character energy. And biggest pet peeve, what annoys you the most?
Oh, AI bots. I cannot stand it. It absolutely grinds my gears. And I say that because yes, I did a post this week about AI and the amount of people that use AI to comment back. And so I just replied back being like, thanks, bot. Like, I'm like, have your own opinion. Like, no, you don't need that. If you need AI to write a comment, that's a bigger problem in life.
Yeah. I'm starting to see on LinkedIn so many like bot profiles. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is going on? You know?
Yeah, it's like when people used to buy Instagram profiles, like, and it's this, and people say like, "Oh my God, all my competitors, they get so many comments." I'm like, no, no, read them comments. I'm telling you now, they're bot accounts. Like, people buy bots, people buy engagement pods. Like, so much of it is fake, and you just have to know how to like weed through it. I have definitely know how to do that and find fake accounts. And I just remember on, yeah, watching when you'd watch The Bachelor and you could then see all these people that got off The Bachelor and had this random spike of followers. And then
Yeah.
you look at the followers and you're like, oh, they bought them.
It's like I'm starting to see a lot of music labels do that when they with like new artists and stuff, they just flood it. They have all these
Yeah,
farms, content farms, and it's
for
like
fun.
they're just forcing it into the thing. And it's like you're not doing as bad as what you are, like the independents, you know what I mean? Like you're actually doing a good job, but it's just you don't know what game you're playing. Hey.
No, no. And it's like you'll think that, and Shameless Media did a really good episode on this talking about clip farming. But yeah, you'll be like, wow, like even the show Off Campus is a great show. It was number one, but there was so many edits. And that's manufactured for that many edits, to go out so much on that as well. Or artists and listening to that, or artists and the new music, they're feeding that, make content with this song and all that kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of it that can be manufactured as well, and it can feel sometimes a bit disheartening, but trends go up and down. There was a whole lot of people 2 years ago that was like, I'm a TikTok coach and I will do all these things and charge you $1,200 for an hour of my time. Where are they now?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, I bloody love this chat. Honestly, I feel like we've got to get you back on for round two at the end of the
Appreciate it.
year and just see how everything's going. But Kim, honestly, appreciate sharing your wisdom. The listeners are going to love this. We'll put all your stuff in the show notes so they can go check out your work. But yeah, honestly, it's been a pleasure. Bloody loved it.
Thank you for having me.